City keep tabs on Ramos. Real move ahead in Alaba race. Brandt could join Arsenal. Klopp frustrated with the refs again, and a transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Froelich, you are the OneFootballers, and this is the Daily News. So first off, and Manchester City are keeping tabs on Sergio Ramos. The Real Madrid captain, who at 35 years of age is now free as of the 1st of January to discuss a potential transfer to another club. Now, of course, after being so loyal to Real Madrid and playing over 660 games for the club, it does look like that he eventually will agree a renewal with the club. Having said that, they do not want to offer a 2-year deal for a player over 30 years old. For some reason, I don't know, a few clubs do it. They just seem to think that when a player hits 30, there's a sharp decrease. I mean, if anything, Sergio Ramos is the absolute exception to this rule, so an exception should be made where they don't just offer him a 1-year deal, but the 2-year deal that he wants. Granted, when it comes to the money, as Sergio Ramos is on around 10 million or 10 to 12 million euros per season, it is a lot of money. But then, having said that, he is one of still the best defenders in the world. Apparently, the offer, which would see Real Madrid give him a 2-year deal, is only with a massive pay decrease in the second year. So, having said that, talking about money and massive contracts, Manchester City are, of course, right up there. Now, at the moment, they've got some fairly good defenders at the back in the form of Ruben Diaz, John Stones, Aymeric Laporte, and Nathan Ake. But, of course, Sergio Ramos is just a different level to these guys. It would be rather interesting to see him head to the Premier League, not only because it would be a massive test for him at the age of 35. We're seeing Thiago Silva cope kind of okay with the move to the Premier League at such an old age, but also with him being a legendary Real Madrid player and Pep Guardiola being a legend of Barcelona, it'd be rather interesting to see how that dynamic works. Anyway, at the minute, it looks like it may be a very, very expensive deal for whoever tries to sign the defender. And as for Real Madrid, well, whether they let him go or keep him on may depend on another signing of their own. And that is the signing of David Alaba. Now, I've just spoken about what Sergio Ramos wants at Real Madrid, and apparently Alaba wants more than that. That's right, he wants to walk into Real Madrid and immediately be the highest earner on around 13 million euros after tax. Crazy amounts of money, and well, when you're in the position that Alaba's in, he can kind of ask for it. It's clear that every top club is after his signature. The chances of signing a brilliant player like Alaba at the age of 28 on a free transfer do not come around so often. So you can see why the lowest team in for him, as I said, and that he could charge an extortionate price for his defensive services. If Real Madrid had assigned him, then maybe, just maybe, we could see Ramos leave the club. Alongside this, Barcelona are also supposedly in the race for Alaba, but they're struggling to put together any sort of money to sign the likes of Memphis Depay and Gini Wijnaldum. No offence to them, if they can't afford to bring them in, they definitely can't afford to bring in David Alaba. Despite this though, Alaba still is in the first team at Bayern Munich. He's still playing the games, and manager Hansi Flick has said that he is a massive, massive player for the club, both on and off the pitch, and that the door isn't completely shut when it comes to him signing a new contract. Out of the two, Ramos and Alaba, you'd probably think that Ramos is more likely to sign a renewal at his current club. But moving on though, and away from Bayern Munich to Borussia Dortmund, and their CEO has said that Julian Brandt may be leaving the club. When quizzed about the midfielder's future amid reports linking him with a move to Arsenal, he said that anything can happen at the beginning of the transfer window, but at the moment there is no offer on the table, nothing from the fax machine. I still don't know why anyone's using the fax machine these days. It's 2021 now. Anyway, as for Julian Brandt at Arsenal, this can be quite a good move. A very talented player, but unfortunately for him, he's in the Dortmund side where they have a multiple choices of other attacking midfielders. I mean, despite the fact that they've got brilliant midfielders they've brought in, they've also got youngsters coming through who are just equally as good and are given their chance. Doesn't really bode well for Julian Brandt. Anyway, it does bode well for Arsenal if he joins the club, because they have been crying out for a creative midfielder. It's almost like they don't have any creative midfielders in the squad. Like they've just got one that's sitting at home and not really being used. And yes, of course, I'm talking about Mesut Ozil. Mikel Arteta has said that if the end of the transfer window comes and they haven't managed to bring in a creative midfielder, there may be an opportunity for Ozil to rejoin the squad. He has been left out of the 25 Premier League man list, but in January that list can obviously be revised to add in the likes of new signings and maybe players that you want to bring back from injury or just bring back from the cold. Brandt, in my opinion, would be a fantastic signing. I don't think it costs too much from Dortmund. Like I said, they've got a plethora of other options in that position, and on top of this, I don't really think he's showing the kind of form which would see a ridiculous bid necessary to acquire his services. At the moment, Emil Smith-Rowe is kind of taking on that mantle, and despite his young age, he's doing a good job, but it's not really fair for Arsenal to put all the creative force and all the pressure on his shoulders. So next up, and to Jurgen Klopp, who yet again was complaining last night. And honestly, I know that we talk a little bit of shit about Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp on this channel, as everybody seems to do, but I think he's actually been really hard done by. If someone can explain the rules down below, please feel free to let me know. But how is that not a penalty for the handball? The Sadio Mane one that Jurgen Klopp's talking about when Carl Walker-Peters kind of nudged into him, I think it's a bit of a dive from Sadio Mane, and he's been accused of that before, and Liverpool have won some dodgy penalties, but still, throw that out the window on a single incident basis. That hand from the Southampton defender last night, if you guys haven't seen it, make sure you go and check it out. There's highlights absolutely everywhere, is blocking a shot on goal. How is it not a penalty? VAR reviewed it super quick and just said no. I mean, look, when it's not your team, it's easy to say, oh, look at Liverpool, oh, you got Klopp complaining again, this, that, and the other. But if that's your team, you are absolutely furious that a penalty has not been given. Liverpool aren't my team, but I can see why Klopp was pretty annoyed. Having said that, Jordan Henderson, the club captain, gave a rather more frank assessment, said they started slow and they had sloppy passes all over the pitch, and they just weren't good enough. This is now games against Southampton, West Brom, and Newcastle, where Liverpool have managed just 1 goal from 41 shots on target. The front three of Firmino, Salah and Mane are not hitting very good form, and it's not exactly the right time to do so, with the games coming thick and fast. As for Ralph Hasenhüttl, well, his tears at the end of the game just showed how much it meant to him and Southampton. What a turnaround for him it's been. It's been a year and a few months since they were trounced 9-0 at home by Leicester, and he has turned things around to the point where now Southampton sit in 6th place and are only 4 points behind league leaders Liverpool, although Manchester United do have a game in hand on their rivals. Lastly then, we come to a quick round-up of the rest of the day's transfer news that you might have missed, and bizarrely enough, Bayern Munich are in talks with Reading over their fullback Omar Richards. William Saliba has left Arsenal and joined Nice on a 6-month loan until the end of the season. Elsewhere, Atletico Madrid are hoping to bring in the likes of Willian Jose or Arkadiusz Milik in this January transfer window. And the latest on the Frank Lampard at Chelsea update, well, is that Andrei Shevchenko, the former Chelsea player and now manager in the Ukraine, is apparently being linked with a job. If they haven't learned anything from giving the job to a former player, well, then they'll go ahead and sign Shevchenko, but I don't think that one's going to happen. That's all from me then. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you let me know your thoughts down below. Check out everything else we've got going on OneFootball here. And until next time, I will see you guys later.